Hello, everybody. My name is Bodhi Simpson, and I'm an art therapist with Conscious Art Therapy.
And I'm Ava Goulet, founder of Dancing Jaguars Spirit Camp. Bodhi and I want to share our newest product with you. It's a deck of cards called Wisdom of the Heart, Affirmations to Connect Your Heart and Mind.
And what Ava and I did in creating this deck is we would come together and support each other in different projects we were working on, and we would pull an affirmation card each time. And what we realized is that the decks we were working with, they didn't really resonate with the messages that we specifically needed to hear. And so we started realizing that we really wanted a more heart-centered deck, and we weren't able to find it. So Ava and I would get together and we would start to write down the affirmations that our hearts both needed to hear. And then I would take them back and I would do some artwork, really connecting to the message. And then I would hand it back to Ava, and Ava would use her graphic design and production skills to bring these into the world. And we would take time moving forward working with these cards and really building a strong relationship with the guidance of our own hearts.
And one of the things that was important to us was creating affirmation cards that children would be able to understand. So many of the affirmation decks we had worked with our child clients used words that were really challenging for children to be able to understand. So we intentionally created 15 cards in this deck that are very easy for children under the age of 10 to be able to understand. And also, all of us have an inner child that needs to hear those messages as well. So they can be used by all ages.
Mm. Thank you for sharing that, Ava. Yes, as we were working with this, we really wanted to be as inclusive to anybody that's human as possible. So we have specifically the first 15 cards that are really basic, but and so children can understand them, but also all of us need to hear these basic messages. And we incorporated as much diversity, different skin tones, male, female. We have animals and nature. So you'll find as you're working with your decks that we really tried to be as inclusive as possible. And so I'll just share with you my first card, if you don't mind. This is the first card that I created for what my heart needed to hear. And the message is simply, I have an open heart. And so what I realized in the beginning of doing this work was that I really didn't know how to open my heart. I didn't know what that meant. I realized that as I started working with these affirmations that I felt closed off to some of the messages and that I didn't believe them to be true. So for me, the biggest part of starting this process was really learning what that meant to open my heart, to get out of my judgmental mind and be more present to my body, and to allow myself to receive love from myself to myself. And, Ava, I think what you and I both realized is that it really is true. We really must learn how to receive our own love to be able to share compassion fully with others in the world. So what we realized is that, this tool was actually extremely important for everybody to start to work with and to really learn how to cultivate this process. And Ava, do you remember what your card was, your first card?
Yes, my first card was I am worthy and deserving of love. And this card, this beautiful artwork of Bodhi's, the person with the very curly hair, like mine, and this person's giving herself a hug. So for me, it was very important for me to hear this message over and over again that I am worthy and deserving of love. Most importantly, self-love and learning self-compassion. So yes, this was a very good start on this journey for me.
I really appreciate you sharing that one because I feel a big part of the work with this deck is really helping us to learn how to be vulnerable and how to really, really open to the truth of what we actually believe.
Mhm.
It's easy for us to think that we love ourselves, but as you're working with this deck, you'll find ways that you block yourself, ways that like Ava, for you, for instance, really realizing there were ways that you didn't believe you were worthy of receiving love and ways that I didn't even know how to even like open and receive it. And so I'll show you the first children's card that Ava and I developed. And this was just the basic message of I love myself. And, in this work with clients using this deck, there are many clients that children and adults that read this and they They say, yes, I do. But there's also many children and adults that I've worked with that read this message and they close up and they say, no, I don't. I'm terrible. I'm an awful person. I don't love myself. I don't know how anybody else could love me. And so, as you can imagine, especially for children, really helping us to really recognize the importance of genuinely loving who we are and being okay with that and not feeling selfish about loving ourselves. And as Ava mentioned, this is really a message that the big kids need to hear. My daughter always says grown-ups are just big kids, they just forgot. So really just allowing ourselves, because the messages are whimsical, the images are whimsical, I feel like it's a little bit easier to connect to that more youthful part of ourselves also. So Eva, do you have any other of the children's cards that stood out to you?
I love I am powerful. And I just want to point out that there's a heart on each one of these cards. And it's kind of fun too to just kind of connect to the heart on each card. But I love this card, I am powerful, because so much of the work that I think Bodhi and I both do with children is helping them feel empowered, helping them feel powerful. And I love that little card. One of the ways that I suggest that parents use these cards with their children is to have a bowl next to the door. And as the whole family is getting ready to go out the door in the morning to commute to wherever they're going, each of the family members could pick one of these affirmation cards and take it with them in the car. And then as you're commuting, take time to connect with each one of the cards, have each child state the affirmation and talk about what that brings up for them. And it's such a powerful way to be able to start the day on a positive tone for the entire family. And if you happen to not be commuting very far right now and you're doing more distance learning, you could also have the children pick a card at breakfast and take those few moments at breakfast to set the intention for a positive day by discussing each person's affirmation for the day.
I love that. It's so beautiful.
Mm.
I think I'm going to start doing that with my kids. I don't know why I haven't. I love that. So I can share a little bit about the way I've used this card for the deck for myself and with clients also. Um, so the biggest thing is that Ava and I realized in working with these also is that we are always affirming something to ourselves. So if we're not conscious and aware of what kind of messages we are believing and telling ourselves, then often they are filled with negative self-talk and judgment and worries and fears. And so really positive affirmations, we don't want to negate the negative. We just want to be aware of it. And then we can consciously choose from our hearts the message that we really would like to believe to be true. But what I find is that, so how I use the cards is I lay them out. I develop a lot of trainings on helping people to understand the importance of a daily practice. So for myself, I take time every morning, as Ava does with the kids mentioned, and I just pull a card that my heart feels like it wants to pick. And this is one that I had pulled recently. And this is one that says, I take time to honor my feelings. And so what you do is you read the card, you read the message, you look at the image, and you open up your heart. So you breathe in and out through your heart. And the way we connect to the imagery is with our feelings. So you notice if you are resistant to receiving this message, do you take time to honor your feelings? You notice if you're open to it and if that's something that is comfortable for you. So basically, the cards help you to become aware of unconscious beliefs or unconscious ways that our body is either receiving them or blocked. And then you can use this in your daily meditation practice, in your journaling practice, where you really get curious about, again, why am I resistant to this? And you know you're done working with it when it's something that you really are open to and you believe to be true. And that at that moment, you're able to receive it and it just fills up and it beams out of you, and then other people feel it. And sometimes I pull more than one card. So I may pull that. And as you can see, it really facilitates the ability to open to my own vulnerability. And so I might feel a little raw. And so I pull another card. And the next card I pulled was I breathe deeply. So really just, anchoring in, taking time to honor how I feel, to be honest about my truth, to breathe. And I chose to pull another card. And the next card was I let go of hurt and anger. So as you can see, you can have a whole series of messages that can be connected, that can guide you in a practice in getting curious and contemplating and opening. And in our box that you'll receive, we have put in a meditation to help learn how to open your heart. We've listed some different ways you can use this deck with others and with yourself, but we definitely encourage you guys to get creative and make it your own and have fun with it. And you can incorporate it with other tools that you're using. And one other way that I do use this with clients is, you know, sometimes people have just like a really heavy session and they've just brought a lot into the room. And so I'll give them a deck and I'll have them kind of look through it and choose a card with their heart open, choose a card that feels like it's a message that their heart really needs to hear right now. And either we'll photocopy it or, you know, if I have enough decks, they can take it with them. And, you know, often people, we just kind of open right up. And so what happens is we can bring the heavy for ourselves, we can honor the truth of how we feel. And at the same time, with these cards, we bring in the light, we bring in the love, the beauty, the gratitude, um, you know, seeing beauty all around you at the same time. So we're able, as we use these cards, we're able to really experience what that feels like to be in our wholeness and not disown any parts of ourselves.
Now, this deck of cards is able to be used by people of all ages. So I would just like to say at this point that it's a great gift for anyone in your life, whether it's a child, a family member, or if you're a professional person, it's great for clients. School teachers could incorporate affirmations into their classrooms. So it's a great gift for anyone that you may be shopping for. And you can purchase this product at dancingjaguarinspirations.com/products.
And we thank all of you so much for your support, and we hope you enjoy learning how to open your own heart and cultivate your self love practice and sharing this practice with your children and your friends and your family and your clients, and just really helping to spread love in the world and make a difference. So, thank you.
Absolutely. Let's spread love everywhere. Thank you for watching.